Love is a word as well as a topic that I've grappled with time and time again. It is a force of nature and social understanding that I know takes form in many different ways. I know that I've struggled to understand what it means to me and how I can apply it well towards the people that I deeply care about. It's one area of discussion to ponder the semantics of what it means to love someone. However, it's a completely separate area of discussion to ponder the semantics of what it means to express that love. The semantics don't have to be restricted to one person or a group of people. It can be applied to areas such as hobbies, interests, and the list goes on. That being said, love is a word that I can wholeheartedly and comfortably use to describe the way that I feel towards a manga animated series called Attack on Titan. It is a series that came into fruition as a manga that started on September 9th, 2009 and ended on April 9th, 2021. There is a gargantuan amount of topics that I feel compelled to discuss that will never see the light of day if I don't cover this in an episodic fashion. So, with that being said, I will start with Season 1 and what it did as the hook to reel its audience in with the first 4 episodes. Episode 1 did a great job in introducing the setting with a preview of the threat to come, as well as introducing the veteran soldiers that will pave way for the rest of this series. We are also introduced to our main cast of characters and the seemingly mundane lifestyle that they inhabited from a day-to-day basis. This lifestyle consisted of behaviors ranging from gathering wood to encountering the lazily drunken garrison soldiers of paradise. For the sake of simplicity, we'll refer to the walled area that these people are living in as paradise. We are casually shown the complacency that the garrison and inhabitants of paradise have grown accustomed to. This is further confirmed by Hannes admitting that they are indeed not prepared for any threats they may breach the walls. From the perspective of Hannes, as long as the biggest problem is that the garrison members are useless freeloaders being laughed at by the public, their safety is not compromised and it is there to stay, which means that it's alright for them to be living in the way that they currently are. In response, Eren expressed his insurmountable disappointment and frustration at the complacency of Hannes, going as far as calling him and the inhabitants of paradise cattle due to the nature of such widespread complacency.
一生壁の中から出られなくても飯食って寝てりゃ生きていけるよ。でもそれじゃまるで家畜じゃないか。
This surprised Hannes and he immediately suspected that Eren wants to join the Survey Corps, an entity that Eren saw as heroic. This is the beginning of the ideological and philosophical clashes in this series, all of which will transpire time and time again. Shortly after, we are immediately shown the gargantuan damage that the veteran soldiers received after their introduction and reconnaissance. We are shown the grim reality that the Survey Corps faced on a regular basis when venturing outside the walls. Despite being shown the earth-shattering pain, loss, and disappointment that these heroic soldiers have experienced, Eren remains steadfast in his desire to join the Survey Corps. When inquired by his father Grisha Jaeger, not only are we shown a painfully innocent desire expressed by Eren to find out what exists outside the walls, but we are also shown a noble desire from him to carry on the work of those who have fallen to the Titans on their expeditions. There were slight moments of foreshadowing towards Grisha's character in this considerably quick exchange, which heavily pays off later in the series. We're quickly introduced to Armin's character as well as the dynamic of the Eren, Mikasa, and Armin trio that we will see many times going forward.
それで人類はいずれ外の世界に行くべきだって言ったら殴られた、異端だって。くそ。
Armin revealed that he was bullied for expressing that humanity should go out to the world someday. The conversation between Eren and Armin reaffirmed the difficulties that they face for wanting to break out of the complacent cycle that they live in, facing high hurdles such as the royal government declaring interest in the outside world as taboo. This is due to the fear that venturing out will risk entry of the Titans and risk compromise of the 100 years of peace that Paradise has lived with so far. Armin contended that even though the Titans haven't breached the walls yet in the past 100 years, that doesn't mean that the walls wouldn't be breached that day. What unraveled after is what will fundamentally set the series in motion both for our main characters as well as what's to come, with all of the foreshadowing that this episode has already provided. The start of episode 2 touched upon the fragility of human nature and how humans have developed a coping mechanism to rely on religion during such arduous times. The stark parallel to reality that this paints is that regardless of what beliefs a person will lend themselves to, times of violent difficulty will be indiscriminate with who it will claim. Regardless of the belief system, praying and reciting verses from a book will only go so far to mediate the problem of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hannes grimly stated that the reason Eren couldn't save Carla is because he lacked the strength. The reason why Hannes didn't fight the Titan was that he lacked the courage. His conversation alone is worth 1,000 words. When humanity is pushed to the brink of destruction, when humanity is pushed to face its greatest fear, when humanity is pushed to the point when all hope is lost, we get to see exactly what makes or breaks a person in the circumstances that demand everything that they have, everything that they are, and more. His conversation also foreshadowed the dynamic of the Eren, Mikasa, Armin trio and the roles that they will ultimately step into. Eren will develop the courage to keep moving forward, Mikasa will develop the strength to keep pushing forward, and Armin will develop the wisdom to guide them all forward. This is the episode that began Eren's journey into the rage-ridden person he has started to become. Episode 3 expands upon a motif of vulnerability just as much as Episode 2 did, but it also introduces another motif, deceit. In order to break down and discard whatever predispositions a soldier may have, culture shock and the facilitation of vulnerability are often used in boot camps to act as a rite of passage, so that what is produced afterwards are the malleable, cookie-cutter soldiers. This often challenges everything that people have within themselves as well as everything they are. They get rebuilt from the ground up once all is said and done. In these experiences, people may often share why they're opting to partake in such a rigorous process, and this often delves deep into their motivations and the histories that brought them to that very day. Eren and his fellow cadets experience the same rigorous process in order to become the soldiers that they sought to become, regardless of what their motivations were. Majority, if not all characters who were provided the time to speak, were forced into a vulnerable spot, whether it be from verbal abuse or from sharing the intricate stories of their motivation. In those caveats of vulnerability, however, is a deep-seated tumor of deceit. With statements of general information lathered in emotional fracture and nothing specific, in retrospect, it's as clear as day that there was something awry with the camera work on Reiner and the vagueness of Berthold's story, as well as its details.
ウォールマリアを破った鎧の巨人はそう呼ばれてるけど俺の目には普通の巨人に見えたな僕とライナーはウォールマリア南東の山奥の村出身なんだ明け方だったやけに家畜が騒がしくて耳慣れない地響きが次第に大きくなっていったそうして急いで窓を開けたら
This is where, through multiple visits to the series, one can really enjoy being able to piece together the provided information. Episode 4 starts off extending upon the motif of deceit through the interactions of Reiner and Eren with a bit of limelight on Annie. It's here that we can truly see the disdain that Annie had towards Reiner, which is covered well in Season 4, but a first-time viewer, it comes off as Annie expressing frustration towards Reiner for being caught slacking off. In retrospective analysis, Reiner was already playing very well into the role of being a resident of paradise, and in this episode he was stepping up to being a model soldier that his fellow cadets can look up to, someone who is reliable. While Reiner can certainly believe in the role that he was playing, it doesn't change the fact that what he was doing is deceitful. Annie, given her background, doesn't exactly appreciate the shenanigans that they must undergo, and commented that she is not stupid enough to enjoy playing soldiers in this shitty world.
とにかく私はこのくだらない世界で兵士ごっこに興じられるほど バカになれない。
お前は戦士にとことん向かんようだな。
While it's hard to say whether Reiner meant as a soldier or as a warrior, his comment towards Annie that she hasn't cut it to be a soldier at all leaves a pretty heartbreaking moment as she walked away considering their backstories. To top it all off, Reiner, Bertold, and Annie, who reached the top 5 of 218 cadets, are all raised as warrior candidates who have already gone through their own training which began in their childhood. They had the experience and discipline that were necessary to get the top 5, and the soldier training may have just been a walk in the park for them. These people in the top 10 were cadets that were supposed to be for the best interest of humanity in paradise. Whether that may take the form of cadets joining the military police, garrison, or Survey Corps. Little did we know that at this point of the series, as first-time viewers, we started to see the beginning of an infiltration reaping what it has sowed. In modern day, Attack on Titan is in my top 2 anime manga series. I have an insurmountable love for it, despite the grievances that I do have lurking in the back of my mind, which I'll eventually tackle in the future. This series did an exceptional job with its approach to the setting that it threw itself into. Additionally, the characters as well as backstories were equally as excellent. Just as episodes 1 through 4 built up a lot of foundation for many episodes to follow and extend upon, I hope I can say the same about this video essay going forward with more to come. I look forward to gathering more of my thoughts and expressing them on the series. That's about it. Cheers.